Hi, how you doing? It's Jeff Sinker from SkypeGuitarLessonsOnline.com. Welcoming you to this video, part of the continuing series on how to play the guitar for the beginner. And this is really aimed at the complete beginner. Somebody who's just picked up the guitar for the first time, really wants to learn to play the guitar. Well, welcome to my online course on how to do that. We've been working through chords. We will be moving on to scales and also on to strumming patterns and how to move between chords to play songs. So it's well worth continuing this series, and if you do want to, please click on the subscribe button you see down there. It takes you to my YouTube channel. Once you've subscribed, any new lessons that I post in this series, you'll be notified via YouTube. So it's a great way of keeping in touch. All information, chord diagrams that you may wish to read later will be available through the link below. It takes you to my website. Again, there you'll be able to see all the previous lessons. Also, there's some more information on there for the beginner, where I talk a little bit about music theory and just in general about the guitar. If this is the first time that you've watched one of my videos in this series, then I do strongly recommend that you click on the link below. It takes you to the initial lesson where I talk about the guitar in general and just really go through information that you need as the complete beginner. This will make things easier as you go through these lessons. We'll be able to understand the strings, the fingers. So I do recommend that you click on that and then come back. Things will just make a little bit more sense to you. Well, so far in the series we've looked at a number of the major chords. Now we're starting to look at how to play some of the minor chords. Previously we looked at the A minor chord. This lesson we are going to be looking at the D minor chord. It involves a little bit of stretching, and I'm sure now you've been playing these chords, your fingers are beginning to loosen up, so you might not find it as bad as what you think it might be. I do recommend, now you're here, have the guitar with you. That way, as we're going through this information, and I'm showing you where to put your fingers on the fretboard, you're able to follow with me. So use this section a little bit interactive so you can learn to play the chord as I'm showing you. Of course, the chord diagram will be appearing, so you'll be able to follow that as well. Okay, let's get the cameras in close. And let me show you how to play the D minor chord. Right, D minor. We're going to start it off with our first finger is going to be on the first fret of the high E string. As per usual, about 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, no more than that, just behind the fret, pushing down. Now, because of the shape of this chord, we're not going to be getting the nail. I've talked about the position on the nail looking up or looking at an angle. This one really does need to be at a slight angle for you. And of course, because it's the bottom string here, we're not going to be touching any strings underneath, so that's not a problem. Then your third finger is going to stretch down to the third fret on the B string. And again, you've got to get this as close as you can to that third fret. Now, as a beginner, first starting out on here, you'll probably find your finger doesn't want to stretch that far. You pull it, tug it out. No, don't do that. And you're going to have to work on that. So just at first you might find it a little bit back, 1/4 inch back or so, but as you keep practicing with this chord, your stretch is going to get there. Now, do try and get the very tip of your third finger on here. Almost in a sense, it's going to be like the side of that finger, because you've got to make sure that there's clearance beneath and also above. Got to get a nice bit of clearance on that, so try and get that so it's holding down with the almost the side of the finger, so it's kind of slanted on a little bit to the string. Now our second finger is going to be playing second fret on the G string. They're the 3 fingers that build up this chord. We're going to play from the D string down. We don't play the low E or the A string, so we just play straight down from the D. And that gives us the sound of the D minor chord. Very sad sounding chord. Used to be, still is called the Death March chord. In fact, a lot of rock bands, the death metal bands in the early days, used to write their songs purely in the D minor chord. I'm sure if we think back to the Spinal Tap movie, the D minor, that was the chord. Well, I've checked that video out if you haven't seen it. Just give you a lighter side to play on the guitar. So that's the D minor. Points to note, my thumb, as per usual, behind the grip, behind the fretboard, not off to the side, not appearing underneath. Has to be behind. And again, I get a full grip on this one again. So I've got the fretboard kind of resting in that palm, and then I'm building up the chords, thumb sitting there. If you want, if you can just roll that thumb over slightly just to touch the E chord, or the E string should I say. You're not really going to be able to reach over and do the A. If you do, it's going to put pressure on the E string and you'll end up fretting a note. So just let it roll over the top there, but really you've got to focus on just playing from the D string down. We don't want the A string ringing out, and we certainly do not want that E string when we play through that D minor. Okay, take your hand off, or take your fingers off should I say, shake them off, and then rebuild up the shape. First finger, first fret, third finger, third fret B, second finger, second fret on the G, playing through the D string. So we're playing through them bottom four strings. Things that normally go wrong, the third finger. That's the one that, as you're playing it here now, I can almost guarantee it is the third finger that is giving you a little bit of an issue when you play. Whether it's not being able to reach down far enough or it's touching the strings underneath. It really is about getting that side on almost angle with that third finger. So you're presenting at the finish point of your third finger onto that fretboard. So it's not touching the other strings. You can, if your second finger is touching the D string above, you can move that down slightly. So it's not going to affect the B string, that's already covered in the front by this third finger. So we're not going to get that interfering, but it gives a little bit of clearance so the D string can ring out a little bit better. So we take our hands off, break the shape, put the fingers back on, play your chord, fingers back off, on, play the chord. Remember, I always do this rule of 10. Play the chord, make it sound, hand off, break the shape, put your fingers back. It's not good enough just to keep just lifting them off and then plonking them straight back on. Got to break the shape up, put them back on. 10 times. We're looking for this 10 times. If we don't get that sound, we go back to 0 and start again. Now, keep working at it, keep building up that shape. Well, I'm sure it won't take you too long to get that D minor together. Just keep working on the pattern, just keep working on them fingers, just to clear up that shape. Well, I do hope you found that useful. We're going to continue the series. Next lesson, we are going to be looking at the E minor chord. So make sure you've subscribed, that way you'll be notified when that is released. So till then, this is Jeff Zinker from SkypeGuitarLessonsOnline.com. Thank you for your company. Look forward to seeing you very soon in the future video. Until then, goodbye.